The cap and trade bill. All right, it passed the House last Friday. It's an all-out tax on the American family. Depending on who you listen to, it could cost American families anywhere between $110, according to the EPA, to about $3,000. If you take the numbers from the Heritage Foundation, guys, that's per family, per year. And I'm not sure why, but never mind the added cost to businesses, because that's going to be big as well. Steve Milloy is here. He's the author of Green Hell. Chris Horner also joins us. He's the author of Red Hot Lies, How Global Warming Alarmists Use Threats, Fraud, and Deception to Keep You Misinformed. Steve, I'm going to start with you. You know, Glenn Beck has been on record as saying, you know what, okay, so maybe the globe is getting a little bit warmer. But then he goes through a series of things. What's causing it? And if we're going to fix it, what's the best way to fix it? And what's the best bang for our buck? Give us some ideas. Give us some sense if you think government's doing the right thing with cap and trade.
Well, they're doing the wrong thing. I don't know whether the globe is warming or not. Claims that there's, catastrophic global warming going on, or that's just plain junk science. The notion that Congress is somehow going to control the climate is even more ludicrous. And worst of all, they're going to saddle the taxpayer with $9 trillion worth of government-issued paper over the next 40 years to try to solve this problem. It's ridiculous. We're just going to make people's lives more expensive, less free, less comfortable, less convenient, less dignified, less hopeful. This is a disastrous policy.
Hey, Steve, how much more expensive? I outlined the range. Really, everything I've read is $110 from the EPA, who'd like to let you believe it was going to be very low, to the Heritage Foundation, who's it's fairly conservative right, who wants you to think it's going to be really big. Where are you on this? What's the number?
I'm going to start by saying that any cost, even if it is a postage stamp a day, is too much, because nothing is going to be accomplished for the climate or for the environment. This is just a political power grab. But if you look at the $9 trillion worth of carbon allowances that Congress is going to print up over the next 40 years, that works out to about $800 per person per year. So for a family of four, that's about more than $3,000. And then when you add in that everybody uses electricity, and these prices are just going to be ripple throughout the economy. There's going to be inflation. What good can come from making electricity, making energy more expensive for no other gain?
Chris, the money that's raised, I know the estimates are massive. You're talking, I don't know, $800 billion a year, $1 trillion, $2 trillion. Where's that money going?
Well, it depends. The president, in his budget, proposed this as the biggest tax increase in American history, nearly 3 times as big as the previous biggest tax. That was the expiring tax to pay off World War II. This one actually just goes up. That money would have all gone directly to the government from selling these energy stamps or ration coupons to use energy. Now, in order to drag this thing over the political finish line in the House, they bought political cover from industry, and they gave away 85% of the tax revenue to industry for the first approximately decade. Whatever the cost, however, it's all pain, no gain. Nobody says that this, Kyoto, anything ever proposed would, under any scenario or set of assumptions, detectably impact the climate. But if we've got to assign a number to it, I'm going to take the president at his word, about $300 billion a year. That's why you describe Heritage as being on the center right. Heritage just took the president's number of the amount of the money that he wanted to take from the economy to the state, divided it by the number of households in America. That's where you get $3,100. Then there's the loss of GDP and so on. So it's all pain, no gain. It's an enormous. Do you know the UN just this week issued a report saying that cap and trade will harm our competitiveness and our economy? The UN. So I'm talking about this is proven in Europe, by the way, to chase manufacturing jobs away.
Think about that for a second. You're going to set up shop. We just talked to Lynn Tilton, who tells us small business is the heartbeat, the engine of the economy. Hey, you're going to set up a small business. Are you going to pay more? Are you going to come here to the U.S. where you have a cap and trade? Just say you're a manufacturing company. You're going to pay more to do it here than in China, than just about any other country in the world who do not have cap and trade bills, most of them, with the exception of Europe. So why wouldn't you drive business?
Can I give you an anecdote?
Sure.
An anecdote. We have new steel jobs in Carroll County, Kentucky. They came from Spain because, as Sarah Knox said, we're not investing in energy-intensive, capital-intensive, long-term investments in Europe anymore because of cap and trade rationing. Those jobs are now going to go to Malaysia. Tyson Krupp broke ground in Alabama. Those jobs won't stay. Louisiana, now that steel plant that was planned for there is going to Brazil. So you're talking about chasing away the very jobs you and I think Lynn said are necessary. Manufacturing jobs, they are gone under this because you are rationing energy through price scarcity, artificial state-imposed price scarcity.
Steve, I'm going to go all conspiracy theory on you right now. You cap right here, right? Working with me? It's about I got my hands right about my eyes. If you drop that cap, what you've done is you've raised money for government. Am I not right? And at any point in time on this bill, you can drop the cap and raise money.
Oh, absolutely. That's what this is all about. This is about the government making business more expensive, so business has to curry favor with the government. Meanwhile, that cap is essentially a cap on energy production, which means that we're going to have to do energy rationing. So people are going to wind up paying more money for less electricity. And what good can come from that?
Chris, costs more for energy. You need energy to put in your tractor or when you go work your fields. Takes money to transport those corn, soybeans, grapes, whatever, from California to the Midwest. Everything's going to go up, right?
Right. Remember, the president admitted this is about coal, which there's a war against because we have centuries of it. That is our energy security. The president, as candidate, said he would cause your electricity prices to necessarily skyrocket. If you burn coal or mine coal, he will bankrupt you. He was being modest. It's actually all of your energy prices. And as you know, energy is embedded in everything, so the cost of everything goes up. I want you to remember one other statement. Senator Benjamin Cardin from Maryland, Democrat, said cap-and-trade rationing is the most significant revenue-generating proposal of our time. We don't have tax increases anymore. We have revenue-generating proposals. This is the biggest one of our time. So when they tell you it don't cost nothing, they're not telling you the truth.
Steve,
and worst off,
go ahead.
It's a stealth tax increase because people won't get angry at the federal government because President Obama is camouflaging the tax to come from your electric company. So people are going to hate their local utility, not the right source of the tax.
Steve, what happened to nuclear? I mean, at one point it was green. It's not green anymore. Where's nuclear?
Well, right. I mean, the environmentalists hate nuclear because, frankly, it works too well. You know, if you are worried about global warming, and I don't know why you would be, but if you are, then nuclear power is the perfect solution because it's basically an endless energy supply. It's clean, no CO2 emissions, but the Greens hate it. And actually, once you build these plants, it's actually the cheapest form of electricity. But the Greens hate it. They'll never let any plant be built in this country. They've even, I mean, it's not considered renewable energy. It is just, you know, energy non grata.
Steve, I'm sorry, Chris, let me go to Chris. What did the energy companies say about this? Did they expect massive job losses if there is a cap and trade?
Well, it depends. Remember, Ken Lay and Enron invented carbon cap and trade in the mid-90s. I know that's where I learned about it. He has proteges out there. The head of Duke Energy, for example, was one of his proteges. He's taken the business plan. It's called rent-seeking, as you know. It's the world's second oldest profession, whereby you design a scheme to make your fortune off of governmental policy favors. So in his case, you had an old fleet of coal-burning utilities. He would swap them out for, he would fuel switch, and he would get rid of coal and be paid hundreds of millions of dollars to burn gas instead, the price of gas going up, causing an increase in fertilizer costs and others to the farmers and so on. There are various industry groups out there, and any old Western movie, just watch it. At the end, the thieves fall out when it comes time to split up the loot. That's why this thing's been delayed, because the various industry groups that are trying to get rich off of this still can't figure out who's going to get the richest. That's why it's stalled. Some utilities have planned, some nuclear companies are pushing this hard as their way to get a renaissance. Right. Windmill companies, of course. GE Wind used to be Enron Wind. Don't forget that.
All right, Steve Milloy and Chris Horner, thanks, guys. Time to split up this segment to finish the block. Thanks. Great discussion, you guys.